Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, founder and CEO at recruiting firm Riderflex. If you enjoyed today's guest interview, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to the Riderflex podcast. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Try the #1 marketing platform for small business. Everything you need from design to marketing to CRM. Learn more at marketing360.com. Marketing 360. Fuel your brand.
Franny Tacy on the Riderflex podcast. How you doing, Franny?
I'm solid. How about yourself, Steve?
Hanging in there. Love that accent. Oh my gosh, love it. You grew up in North Carolina, right? So it's with you. It's there. Even though you went to school in Arizona.
Yes, but it's Nashville, Tennessee. This is a Southern drawl. Oh. It's not an accent. That's what they like to say from Nashville, but I did live out west, but I carried the accent with me there. And back.
Okay. So, but you went to high school in Tennessee.
I did. I went to an all-girl Catholic school in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah.
All right. Is this before Nashville was like huge with country music, or no? It was already big back then in the 80s, right?
Honey, those were the good old days. That was the real country music. Chris Christopherson bought me my first beer when I was 15 years old in a bar.
No, come on.
Yes. In Nashville, back when I was growing up, every county surrounding Nashville was a dry county. So all the buskers and the musicians and all the scandal and livelihood, that was what was thriving in Nashville back then.
I did not know that. I didn't know all the counties were dry. What interesting.
They were back in the 70s and 80s.
How about that? Okay. Yeah. And how far out of town? So the town you were you went to high school from Nashville? Where was that at?
Oh, I was right in it, right next to, they call it the Green Hills area, close to Vanderbilt. And
okay.
Right in the thick of it.
Are you serious? He bought you your first beer. How'd that happen? What were you at? Like, first of all, how'd you even get the bar? You were 15.
That's true. But then the drinking age was only 18. So, it wasn't as far of a stretch as it is now. Okay. And like I said, that was the good old days. It was outlaw country then. They didn't care. Very into the music scene. I was in a bunch of different music videos when I was younger. So
really?
Yes. Billy Ray Cyrus was one of them.
What were you going to be? Okay. Were you going to be, did you want to be an actor or singer or something? Was that part of your goal early on?
No, I just love music. I had a bunch of friends that were musicians, a bunch of friends that were in the music industry or their parents were.
Yeah, right.
So we got to be in a lot of videos and, in exchange for cowboy boots or something. I was cheap labor. They're like, she wants some cowboy boots and, we'll be happy. So we just ended up,
That's pretty cool. What they do. Were they like, hey, we're shooting a video. We need some extras. If you're interested, show up at this time. And then they pick you out of the crowd. Was that how that went?
Yeah, there was a booking agent down on Music Row that one of my best friend's dads worked for. And so we pretty much, they just got us cute little teenagers together and put us in all different videos and stand-ins. I mean, I wasn't the star of anything.
Well, did you ever have any of these famous cowboys try to take you out on dates? Did you ever have any boyfriends that were famous back then that you want to tell us, you want to confess about?
To be quite honest, I mean, I am all fire and Leo. I had no interest. I mean, I had boyfriends, but usually it was just a placeholder so people would leave you alone,
I see.
As a teenage girl, I had way too many other things that was fun. So I just had a boyfriend there.
Okay.
And no, I wasn't all glitz and glamour. I was into the music, to be quite honest,
Remember when
I taught myself to play guitar and sing, but it's to everybody's blessing. I did not take that as a career path.
Remember when we could go to the music store? Remember going to the music store and flipping through the cassettes and the CDs? Wasn't that fun?
I was the first person anybody knew to have a CD player. I made all the mixtapes back then. Super into it. I actually wanted to be a solid gold dancer. but I had some things playing against me for that one.
So have you always been kind of athletic and energetic? I mean, I saw some photos of you. Hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but I saw some photos of you. I was like, holy shit, she's in her early 50s. Hope you don't mind me mentioning that. People can probably figure out how old you are by looking at your stuff anyway, because you have when you went to college on your LinkedIn, so people are going to know how old you are. But
Yeah.
I was like, man, she's in her early 50s, and damn, she looks good. She's working out every day. Have you always been athletic like that and in shape? And is that always been part of your life? Yeah.
Muscles for miles is what they would say. I've always been a trail runner, and I worked, always just have a lot of energy. And my son, who is 26, just happens not only to be an engineer for John Deere, but he was ranked #1 in the US, 14th in the world for 70.3 Ironman. It's just kind of in our blood.
Wow.
This is like the Franny force. I come in, they're like, oh, yeah.
Are you married or your ex-husband? What's the story there?
It's an ex-husband, and it's been a couple of years since then, but just bought him out of the businesses a little bit over a year ago.
Oh,
so that we could really, there was no conflict with what our brand mission and values were, so that we could really stick to what my name said and what I stand for.
Oh, I want to come back to that. I want to come back to that, because that's probably a whole podcast episode. But let me go back for a minute here. So you were married young. How long were you married to the same guy for a long time, or?
Almost 17 years we were together.
Okay, and one son.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Not married before that. That was your only husband so far.
That's the only husband so far, but I was proposed to 3 times before that. I was engaged once, called it off. And, it's one of those things when you grow up with your parents, when they get divorced when you're young, then oftentimes you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that. But then, so I overcame the fear and then went through that chapter. And now I'm back to like, maybe I shouldn't do that again. I have an amazing partner that I call my soul man. That's super solid. And
so you have a new guy. You got a new guy in your life, and
yes,
cool. Yeah.
And we're launching an extension of Franny's Farmacy, which has all been based around CBD and hemp for healing into foods. So there's no CBD or anything in it. It's called Pasta and Prana hemp pasta. We've been getting it out to the test market. There's a huge demand for it. It's going to actually launch in June. And it'll be at high-end restaurants throughout the country. And
Did you give this partner? Is this partner part of the business? What's the story there? Did he buy in? Is he what's going on?
Oh no, this is separate. He has hashtag Pasta and Prana. He's a yoga teacher and a pasta man. Lived in Italy, cooked for years, out of the restaurant business. Pretty much a yoga teacher and sells and makes pasta.
Was he your yoga teacher? Were you going to yoga class? And he's like, hey, what's up? Let's go on a date. What happened?
Well, we were friends a good long while, but Asheville is a small town. So after my divorce, I took a year sabbatical from all men because I didn't want to I just took a year sabbatical and really went inward. And I had, what an amazing journey. It's not really until we crack open. Can we let more light in, and can we open the space for something else? And it was a real journey inward. I spent a month in Peru. It's right after it all happened, to just connect with the farm there and just go inward, and I like to say, I'm died and been reborn about 400 times in the past year. And I can't even identify, and I'm sure some of us can all relate to that. I can't even identify to the person I was 3 years ago.
Really interesting.
When I was in that marriage and really trying to compromise so much to how do we come together for a solution? And now it's just so easy because I have nothing questioning or standing in the way. Our company is very dedicated to our brand values and missions. It will always come back to that.
Did you and your ex-husband start the company together? Were you co-founders?
Yes. So I was the first female farmer in 2017.
Okay.
And that was after he said, "You are not going to grow hemp. Our neighbors are not going to like that." And I said, "That's bullshit. And yes, I am. And you must have forgot who you married. Don't tell me what to do. I do not take kindly to that." And did that, but made a deal that I was so dedicated to putting the education behind it. And so it was in 2019. Actually, he came home to say, "I quit my job. We're opening a dispensary." So he had been planning this without me really knowing. And it was great.
Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. You're growing the farm. You're doing this farm thing. He's got his job. And then he just comes home and says, "We're opening a dispensary." And he didn't talk to you about it. It's not part of the business plan. You guys aren't having, he just does this separate thing under the same LLC or the same company.
No, he set up a new company. So
He set up a new company. Okay.
Yeah. So that was I was like, wow. But also, one of my best characteristics is I'm very open-minded.
Okay.
I take risks, and I'm non-judgmental of people.
Okay.
Individually, especially people in relationships. We all have to face it. You got to deal with so much to be in it.
Okay.
But it really was a divergence, and it was an awakening and understanding, like, wow, I got to, make sure that I'm involved in this and our brand and mission and values. So I was growing, started a nonprofit, Women in Hemp, ended up uniting with NC State to do research, because this is not only what I did, but a lot of the way women really work in business. We're going to network. We're going to pull the pieces together. So that's what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I was born with 10 green thumbs, but I've been in corporate America and pharmaceuticals for almost 15 years. And I hadn't grown cannabis since 30 years ago with my roommates in the basement of our farm on Flagstaff. Right. I was like, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. So I got all the university partners involved.
When you say united with the university, do you mean grant, as in you got funding from them?
No, I gave them money.
Oh, okay.
Yes. To put this in research so that we could have growers. We would be taking notes. We had consistency. I was the first person to put QR codes, track with COAs, UPC, talk to all the sheriffs around here. I mean, this was a couple of years before it was even legal. I actually have a TED Talk from 2018, most terrifying thing I ever did.
I saw that. I saw part of it this morning.
Yeah. And, I came at it, I was like, hemp's the only thing that could feed, clothe, shelter, and provide medicine. And as somebody that loves plants as my hobby my whole life, there's 450,000 plants out there, horticulture. And there's only one that was designed that has cannabinoids in the body and cannabis a plant that were designed to fit lock and key together. So, and I read The Emperor Wears No Clothes 30 years ago. And I was just, that's when I was young and fiery.
But you're still fiery. You're still fiery.
Yeah. I was like, they're lying to us. What? Because I had come from a very conservative. My dad was a farmer and an Episcopal deacon in our church. Whoa. And then I have my mom, which is highfalutin, city slicking, running the bond division for all of Nashville, Tennessee. I think the budget back then was $700 million, which is like 15 cents now. But so
cannabis was not. You didn't. So you didn't do cannabis in high school with your parents knowing.
Oh, no, actually, I really didn't know a whole bunch about it, except my boyfriend at the time, who went to college on a golf scholarship, was smoking weed or whatever. And anytime I needed to write a paper, and I made straight A's through college, master's, PhD coursework, all this stuff. But when I needed to write a paper or study, I would go to his house for a quote study group with my girlfriends. And he would tell me like smoke this, and then I could drop in and write these amazing papers. It was the
Cool.
focus. So it was used as my study drug.
But your parents didn't know. You didn't. That wasn't cool with your parents.
No. They already put me in Catholic school, and the nuns locked me in closets. There was no place else for me to go. I'm like, I don't know what they would have done. And they actually had said, had we had to do this much longer, they were thinking maybe military school is good for you.
When did you come out to your parents that you were a cannabis CBD fan? When did that conversation happen?
I was pretty open with it once I got to college, but it still wasn't like I used it a ton recreationally. I was using it as a focus.
Okay.
I took 18-hour course loads. I worked full time. I had a rock and roll boyfriend. I had things to do. And in order to make the grades and get the scholarships, I had to make good grades. And weed was it for me. And it was a lot different back then too. Okay.
Oh,
it was
no
a
doubt.
little bit more like him.
No doubt. Yeah.
And, coming from a conservative family, it was a little bit challenging for them, but the CBD was a great intro.
That was a great intro. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm sure your dad was like, wait a minute, does that get you high? Like he probably didn't even know the difference. Well, he was a farmer, so maybe he did know the difference. I don't know.
They call it ditchweed where he was, because it grows out in the rural areas of Tennessee, still in the ditches. So he was a cattle farmer, and they could point it out. They called it ditchweed. They knew where it was. Yep.
Okay.
And honestly, we bought the farm 10 years before that. We're coming up on 10-year anniversary. So 7 years before it was even legal. And I was in pharmaceuticals. So they called me a drug dealer then. They thought it was funny. Oh, Franny sells drugs. I mean, it was pharmaceuticals, and then when I got into this, they're like, she's still in the drug business.
When you told your dad, when you said, Dad, I'm going to plant hemp, was he like, what? How'd that conversation go?
I was never so shocked and surprised in my life when my dad was the one that supports it.
Really?
This is a man. I know God, farm, and family, and that was it for that man. Ain't nothing else important in his world. And he sees and knows the value of that. And even somebody so conservative, he said, if it weren't for the ditchweed around here, us old farmers, that's what we use, ditchweed and veterinary medicine, to get us to our deathbed and God.
How about that? Interesting. So he takes CBD. Will he do THC with you and him on the back porch?
My dad passed away in a tractor accident 2 weeks before we planted our first crop. So we named the field after him.
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
what happened?
Well, they say he died in a tractor accident, but he had a heart attack on his tractor and flipped it, and it jackknifed. And so
I'm sorry.
It was, I mean, it's never time to lose a parent. And it was pretty.
I'm sorry about that. How about your mom? Is she alive? Is she a fan? Do you and her talk about it? Are you close to her? What's the story there?
My mom is the biggest advocate. She is a huge fan. And she now, in her health and healing and wellness, just 2 years ago, within the last 2 years, she lost her husband, sold their farm. When she retired in her late 50s, she always wanted to get back to the farm. She was 72, out on a tractor for fun, and she built herself a riding arena and had her horses. And, all of that changed as she's shifting into this new phase. She's now 74. So she sold her big farm in Tennessee, lost her husband, has moved into a new home. And she's very open to the healing and health that comes from this. It has been hugely important for her.
That's great.
Even to the extent she uses THC as well.
You and her ever together on the back porch? THC?
Well, I wish we absolutely have. And you know what? My nephews know it now. And everybody does. And they're like, you got mama on that? And I was like, look how much better and happier she is. She feels good. And even to the extent, like we've had some psychotherapy, psilocybin trials that she
really?
did.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Too.
Okay.
And,
Your mom's brave. She stepped out there with the psilocybin. Okay. How about
you
that?
know, and it's microdoses and it's under psychotherapy and it's so good. You know, again, research, you know, I went into research for hemp. That was the first thing. Even in mushrooms, we grow all sorts of different mushrooms on our farm. And
You do?
Yeah. There's lion's mane. We grow all sorts of botanicals for our products too. We even have a whole line that is beyond the CBD and hemp realm. It still uses hemp flower, but it's not CBD or THC. And botanicals, we go ashwagandha, which is a really important one. We grow all sorts of different, very healing and healthy herbs. And we use them in our product line because we're vertically integrated. So we take it from the farm to drying, into processing, into our very own manufacturing plant, distribution, and into our supply chain.
So you don't have somebody else manufacture it. You do it yourself. You don't have a third party for that.
We manufacture.
Wow.
Now, our alchemist also we manufacture in 3 different places.
Okay.
And our alchemist has his own brand and he does some of our manufacturing.
Okay.
All of it. We trace everything. It never leaves our oversight. And this is why we're known as the most trusted brand, because let's face it, it's unregulated industry out there.
Yeah, it
and
is.
There's one thing we don't manufacture, which is vapes. There's hardware, it's equipment. It's really interesting. Okay. With all the minor cannabinoids that are now hot and on the market, people want, you know, there's a demand for it and you can only get those in retail places. So it's great for our franchises to get feet in the doors for those vapes. But I went through 80 different products until we got the one that we can partner with and collaborate with that is doing it without anything and legitimate COAs.
Okay, now you're growing, you're manufacturing, you're wholesaling, and you're retailing. Yes. How many? And you have one company retail store and then franchised stores after that. What's your retail model?
We have 3 corporate stores, 12 franchises. We're in 6 states. Our next store to open is that's under construction. So by the time we get this out in the air, we'll have Miami and Fort Lauderdale being built out, Wilmington and Greenville, North Carolina.
Do you like the franchise model? What was your strategy there? And why not just stick with corporate stores? What was your strategy there?
Well, I come from, my master's is in education.
Okay.
Everything that happened from the time I got in this industry, I talked to 30,000 farmers the first 2 years. I talked to people all over the country. Everybody wants to know how to do it. You can't tell somebody how to do it. And I don't have the time. That takes me out of the business. So the whole time I was like, how do we set up something that is duplicatable? So we did it once, then we did it with our second store. And then before we even opened our third one, we did an affiliate program to see how does it work if you want to partner with somebody.
Okay.
Well, then quickly decided, hey, that's when I was getting out of a marriage and I didn't want partners. I want peers. I want other businesses that are invested, involved, yet we still get to control it because we know I've done this. So franchise model makes sense. Even in pharmaceuticals, I was a trainer there. I was a manager. I worked in manufacturing. It's what I know how to do.
Have you had to crash down on any franchise owners yet and go in and say, hey man, what the hell are you doing? This is not our brand. Have you had to?
Yes. Yes. I call it making your own bread. Sometimes people will make their own bread. I'm like, no homemade bread. We made the bread for you. And, you know, it's been a really challenging ride. And so we now wait list most people. Okay. There's only 3 out of 3%. Now we're more up to about 5 as we've made it stricter to even be accepted for review.
Okay.
But there's a lot that you have to do to be aligned. You got to be in the right area, the right territory, the right state of mind, the right inside, because we're building a brand. It's not just franchising.
Is it more the Chick-fil-A model where they're operators, or more the owner model, like a McDonald's owner? What's your model there?
Our model right now has been owner operator. They are in there. Two of our franchise owners are both pharmacists.
Mm.
So one of them is retired and she's opening Alpharetta, Georgia. Amazing. Another one still works as a pharmacist, and his wife helps run that out of Hickory.
Okay.
So these have been owner operators. Our new model, though, we've got, we're doing expansion, is a management model where we are going to have people that are allowed to invest. It's one of the biggest inquiries we have. They want to invest, but they're currently employed. They don't know how to run a business. The hardest thing about franchising is just telling people, stick with the model, stick with the plan, stick with the plan. They're like, but I've never run a business. Exactly, stick with the plan. And we meet, we're super, like yesterday, we had an entire corporate shutdown, and our franchises, the owners, and some of their lead marketing people that even came in for an all-day brand strategy. We're rolling out all sorts of new products, really digging into our health and wellness. We've got our Franny's Cafe that's rolling out to many areas, where we've got chakra teas and cookies and these.
Franny Cafes, is that the cafes inside the dispensary, or is that a separate store? Okay.
It is inside the dispensaries now.
Is your revenue bulk is still the wholesale, assuming you're counting your wholesale business as sales towards your franchisees? So your wholesale is still your bulk of your business, right? I guess.
And e-com, anybody anywhere in the country can go and visit us. You look up Franny, F-R-A-N-N with a Y. You can't miss me. I've been in the press 90 times. I love it. Most popular ones are the ones where I think I accidentally did this to.
I love it.
With attorneys. I'm like, does anybody else want the attorneys to be quiet so I can tell you the real story? Now I realize
Franny's Pharmacy.com. And by the way, pharmacy with an F, Franny'sPharmacy.com. You can order direct from your website right to your home.
Yeah.
And do you sell on Amazon as well?
No.
How come?
There's a lot of different reasons. First of all, most of the people that are selling on Amazon right now, there's some unethical things. And quite honestly, we do as much as we can to not order from Amazon. We are. You mean
just in general, like just in general, and your company you're just trying to stick. Really?
Brands, value, and mission. Brands, value, and mission. I've lived in Asheville, North Carolina, God's country here, 23 years. And I have never gone out to sit down and eat in a restaurant that was not owned by somebody locally. I do not do that. Way before this business ever started. Also, I have a son, 26 years old, I've never bought fast food for, or a soda.
I believe it when he's like ranked number 1 in the US.
And it wasn't a big deal, because he would be like, well, why can't I have that? And I was like, look at the ingredients on that. Yeah. Do you know what those are? And I always said this with him. Hey, if you were the parent and you knew this and you had to make the decision, would you let your child that you love more than anything in the world have something that you know is not good for them?
So are you telling me, Franny, that you never sneak into a drive-through and order a cheeseburger with a Coke yourself and like sneak over the parking lot?
Ever, never. Never.
You don't want to confess? Come on. You had
I can confess to a lot of things. And I actually did one today, and they're like, you know what? I don't think that should be a confession, or that you should hide that. I chained myself to a tree in 1990 in Idaho. I had super long hair and braids, topless with underwear on, flagged the whole thing off because I was working for the Forest Service and found spotted owls in an old growth stand that they were going to log. And I was like, oh, not under my watch. I found the owls. And I was like, I think they found me to protect them. And that forest stand did not get logged, but it did start this whole ripple effect. I was in forestry, I had a forestry degree.
Did you lose your job?
No, because
can I Google those? I need to Google that. Can I find those photos? I'm just joking.
I hope so. I wish. That's what they were saying. They were like, where can we find those?
Where can we find those? The Forest Service, they didn't fire you for that?
No, it's government. I'm a woman and I had a degree. As a matter of fact, it was part of this whole collective going on that led mass layoffs to the Forest Service. And they were going to fire my boss, who had worked there since he was 19, in his 40s. I thought he was ancient, right? I mean, he had one foot in the grave and 4 kids. And they fired him and offered me his job. And I said, good luck. I hope you make it. Fuck this. Idaho sucks, kind of. And I had brewed 200 cases of beer, only place in the world I couldn't really find like friends. Called my friends in Seattle. They picked me up with my 200 cases of beer. Went there, partied till it was gone about 3 days later. And then, just joking, it was a little bit longer than that. And then got on my bike and rode from Seattle to California. Stopped along the way to climb all the highest mountains. Mount Shasta.
Bike as in Harley or bike as in bicycle?
Bike as in mountain bike. Wow. Which is ridiculous. We had no shocks back then. Didn't even know what a road bike was. Yeah.
Hold on. You by yourself, female, traveling on a mountain bike, just all by yourself, nobody around, climbing mountains, no plan. I'm just doing this.
Well, I had friends all the way around. I mean, this was before Google, Facebook. We had payphones and, I kind of set up. There was a couple concerts I wanted to see.
Wow.
The guys in Fish were playing one place.
You went to Fish. Okay. You just stepped up another cool factor.
They played at our house party in 1989 in Flagstaff. Our
what?
To have at our farm. I know.
Wow. You've had some, you're going to have to, I'm going to have to reschedule you for the podcast. We're not going to have enough time to cover all your stories. Holy shit. You've had a few life cycles in here. I love it.
And it's so much fun. I mean, it's so much fun. I'm an experiential learner. So, I need to live it and experience it.
I love that. I want to come back to your business here real quick. So Franny's Farmacy.com. You can order direct, can't order from Amazon. I think we should talk about that more, me and you, but I don't want to push you on it right now. I'm sure you get people trying to push you that way. Can you buy it anywhere else online or only your website?
Right now, it's only on our website.
Okay. Or one of the stores. And how about inside other like Walgreens or whatever, any other stores?
Again, we're not going to go for major box office. We're a high-end brand. And that's not what they're looking for. Okay. Not what a CVS Walgreens looking for. However, you will find us in independently owned and operated compounding pharmacies. Why? It's very aligned. And I can go down the rabbit hole. I'm a super geek when it comes to research and this plant. And this is why we have 2 of our franchise owners are pharmacists. Lo and behold, well, we connect well. And it's so great because we're based on education and they are hard sells. Everybody knows if you can find it in a pharmacy, they have checked it everywhere. So it helps validate the reliability of our brand.
Okay. How many SKUs? What all are you selling? Give us a quick overview.
So we have over 80 SKUs. Our most popular always are our tincture, our gummy line, and our salve, our topicals, which does not go into your body systemically. Very good. The majority, we have a huge recreational crowd that likes to come in with all these minor cannabinoids and vapes. And we have a bud bar where we only buy flower from farmers.
So now you're selling THC and CBD.
We are not selling THC. This is a CBD.
Okay. I just want to be sure.
But there's Delta 8 in there. There's a lot of these other minor cannabinoids that people really love right now. THCV, O, P, N, all of these. So the recreational brings people in the stores, but the teachers, salve, gummies are the biggest. Then we get our chocolates and honey. We have a big foodie crowd that really focuses on the food.
Okay.
And the teas and stuff are really, I mean, I had no idea. We were like, we want to launch these teas. We grew botanicals on our farm. We've been at this. We have a bunch of herbalists within our community that have helped formulate this. And that's one of our fastest growing products. That's new.
Is all this stuff, from the original farm, or do you have more than one farm? I know you said you had more than one manufacturing facilities, but is it still just one farm?
So not anymore. Not anymore.
I was going to say, all right.
So on Franny's farm, my farm where we first planted, everybody needs to go. You can come see it and stay there. We have
cool.
cabins.
That's cool. That's
super cool. Wide
cool.
open.
We
actually do discovery days twice a month where we take people on a tour through our manufacturing, manufacturing, distribution. I'm like full transparency.
That's what. Can you sit around the campfire and do some THC and mushrooms?
420 friendly. 420 friendly, my friend.
Yeah, I have got to come to the farm now. I have got to be there. I got to stay in the cabin for a weekend, hang out for sure.
Oh my! And it's so great. You get to see baby goats. Like we launched goat yoga 5 years ago, and it's still a thing.
I love it. Okay, love it. All right, so you do have more than one farm, which of course now you got to make sure these farmers aren't screwing your product up, right?
That's all under research now. So I don't even have to worry about this much on my level because we set up the systems, and that's what it's all about, especially when it comes to franchising. Setting up systems. We have a POS system that's running that, and we have the management system for the system, and we have a marketing system and a management system for the system. So we're all rolling on the same path.
And how many employees, not counting franchise owners, how many employees?
44 was the last count.
Okay. Now you strike me as you're the face of the brand, the salesperson. Do you have a board? Are you 100% owner? Do you have any deal with the board or investors or anything?
No. No investors at this point. So I own this business. My friends and family, we were the first people in the country to do a public stock offering. And it's private, it's through crowdfunding, Start Engine.
Okay. All right.
And so they're non-voting shares. And this is my family and friends that helped us raise about $500,000 when we launched our manufacturing and distribution about 3.5 years ago.
So you raised some cash, but those are Class B non-voting units.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And right now we're holding straight because you know what?
So you're in control. You're in control of votes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I love it.
This is the benefit of a divorce. You cross values and ethics.
Yeah,
like we pointed out early, you just laid it on the line. She's in her 50s. I got one.
Are you on a payment plan? Are you on a payment plan for that ex-husband, or was it one check and done?
We still have some things to resolve, but we're good. I own all these businesses. And
that's great. I'm happy for you. All joking aside, the fact that you're in control and you don't have to deal with a board and votes and investors that have voting rights and all this other shit. I mean, that's great for you. It's wonderful. A lot
because it's what allows us to stay the course and stay the path. And all these people that got involved with the investors, like I said, I speak everywhere and I speak on business and the revival of retail. That's why 90% of them went out of business. They get in without the right plan, without the long term, without the ability to be flexible. They take a lot of money and they spend a lot of money.
Yeah, the fact that you're in control of the cap table is really awesome. I was going to ask you though, as the face of the company, and you're very, I mean, you are a salesperson at heart. You're a people person at heart. Like that's who you are, right? So who's your operator? Who's your operations person behind you that's really helping make sure I's are dotted, T's are crossed? Do you have a few of those? Yeah.
Yeah. We've got an amazing team. We have an amazing team. So we have a COO that has come from worlds of experience.
Great.
Had a software company, sold a software company,
Great.
We 5 years ago started the North Carolina Industrial Hemp Pilot Program.
Oh,
So he's been involved in the industry a long time, very much in North Carolina.
is that Conrad? Is that Conrad?
Conrad's part of our team. Warren Williams is part of our team. Our CFO has also seen a whole bunch of companies to publicly trade and to sell, and to sell out. So we've got a great team. Our marketing experts coming in.
Awesome.
Some of these are fractional, like we have a fractional CMO right now. As I ran all sales and marketing, and I like CEO, I got to jump in and do some things. And
fractional CFO, I would think you're busy enough. I would think you're doing enough revenue now to maybe have a full-time CFO. Can you share what you're doing in revenue? You probably don't want to share that, huh? Millions?
Let's come back to that in another call, because there's we should do a follow-up, because as you talked about investors and some things, we are going to be opening up a new area into our franchise designs, because a lot of people want to invest that don't meet the criteria to run a business.
Okay.
So
all right.
we're going to open
a
management model.
I see.
So that we run the business successfully, and they are. Yes.
Have you? I'm sure you've had investors calling you all the time, saying, "I want to buy, I want to invest, do you want to sell?" Blah. You're probably getting that on a regular basis, I'm sure, right?
I'm a graceful no. I can so gracefully say no. But I love to entertain it. We had an M&A agreement out there the last year of our separation. We had a mergers and acquisitions plan out there. We were entertaining and all the time. And I will tell you with a smile on my face now, like we had one of them, this was the deal. It was
Yeah.
3 different people showed up on our farm. It had been more than 6 months in the works. They take a long time.
Yep.
3 different countries, 6 different states, rolling in Escalades, all this stuff to meet at the farm, big banquet table. And they presented a deal that was not what we had agreed on. And for some reason, people think like I might be for sale. And I was like, no. So I very politely told everybody to
fuck off
and get off my property.
I love it.
And then I ran outside and I was like, where's my vape? Where's something? What am I going to do? And I did like 20 push-ups. My heart was racing. I was like, how could they have done this to me?
Are you still?
And then I found my farm manager, who's like long hair. And I was like, you got a cigarette? I was like, give me one of those. Started inhaling a cigarette, which I don't really smoke, cigarettes, and got a real big head rush, sat down, went back 5 minutes later. And I'm like, I just want to make sure I was clear. Get the fuck off my property.
Get the fuck off. Now, everybody's got a price though, right? If somebody wrote you a big enough check, you'd sell it all, wouldn't you? I mean, if somebody was like, hey, here's $500 million, you'd probably sell it.
Well, 500 million, it's sold. Yeah. But we haven't been dealing with anything like that. I have a huge objective to build a brand, which is very different.
Well, you are very passionate about that, and you're very protective of your brand, which I love, right? I mean, you could have already went to Amazon, you could have put it in Walgreens, you could have diluted, so to speak, your brand image by throwing it out there in a bunch of other places, and you're very protective of that. And I'm assuming that's because you are making money. Your top line revenue could be higher right now if you had went into all these places, but that doesn't mean you'd be happier. It doesn't mean you'd be making more money, because as we all know, more top line revenue does not always equal more profits. And so you're very careful to be like, hey, this is a protected, so to speak, special brand, and I'm not going to put it on a Walmart shelf.
Well, this is where we get into like, what's your why?
Yeah,
it's
right.
I don't mean to give like my secrets away, but when we talk to potential franchisees, and they're going through the screening process, always, what is your why?
What is your why? What is your why?
My why?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm to be inspired to do something that hasn't been done every step of the way, I've been doing things that haven't been done for the greater good and collective. What do I have after this? I'm in my mid-50s. I could disappear and have a perfectly fine life.
Yeah.
I am purpose driven because I call it the invisible impact. I am here to make the greatest invisible impact I can, where I may not see that person that I help, but through our products, because I monitor the quality of it, they're infused Reiki love from the seed that goes in the ground all the way till it gets to that person.
I love that.
I
love that. Why? Thank you for sharing that. I want to ask you something. On the Riderflex podcast, we've had all kinds of entrepreneurs, all kinds of business owners on the show, but a heavy amount of people tied to cannabis or CBD. We've had a bunch of guests from that industry, and I live in Colorado, so I know a lot of people in the
You're
industry.
embedded in cannabis.
Yeah, and I always ask them, I'm like, listen, man, I'm like, everybody I know in Colorado is starting a CBD company. And every time I talk to somebody, they're like, well, my CBD is super special. I mean, I've heard that so many times, right?
I know.
Tell me just in a couple of sentences here, or just what really, besides the fact that it's your farms and it's from start to finish, which I think is special, what else is unique about your CBD product from all the other shit that you can buy on the shelves? What makes it better?
Well, there's some things that make it obviously better, just in the fact that we have COAs, so a certificate of analysis. That's easy to track your product to the shelf and understand what the basic cannabinoids are in that product. Very important with pesticide tests and heavy metals.
Okay.
When we look for things, 85% of the brands out there do not pass those two tests. When the FDA did their test and pulled 86 products, only 24 even passed plus or minus 20% variance of what they said on the label.
I see.
So bottom line, I'm one of the only people that put my name all over everything and am accessible.
I see.
I stand up. There's a person behind it. Mm-hmm. I give everybody a guarantee. If you don't like it, great. Here is your money back. Go on your way. But what we're doing in that invisible impact and the conscientious consumer, they're the best marketing. They share and it's repeat. That is why we are small and we are mighty, but we have dedicated and loyal customers.
Okay.
And they all come back and they've tried another brand here or there. They're like, oh, we were on the road and we bought it here, or we went in here. And they're like, it's not the same.
Okay. Can I ask you this? So I have arthritis in my neck because by the way, I'll be 55. We're very close in age. You're younger than me and you're in a lot better shape than I am. But I'll be 55 in August. And I get arthritis in my neck. I get injections in my neck for arthritis, but I've tried numerous creams and shit that the CBD and my wife's always like, is it helping? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't know if it's helping. I still have to get my injections. So.
Yeah. Well, I have bulging discs. So it's some of the same symptoms that you have, but for me, there is no cure. I'm not curing it.
Right.
I'm
it's not
learning how to function healthy. So a lot of times if I travel, sometimes weather can, increase the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we have topicals. I like the topicals because it will instantly give me relief.
What's the one that I should order from your website when we get off the phone?
The salve.
All right.
Franny salve.
All right.
I have long hair, so you don't have this issue, but because of my long hair, I like our healing lotion because it absorbs quickly within the skin and it wouldn't make my long hair all.
Gotcha. That's not going to affect me. I'll do the salve. I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this. What is I know we're getting closer on time here. What is your workout routine? I've got to know. Now, anybody in their 50s that's in good shape, isn't it interesting how we enter this stage of our lives? We're both in our 50s now, and there's just so many different things that go through your mind. regarding health, and you know, so many people that have gotten sick or people that are starting to fucking die or whatever. And health is just even more important as you enter this phase, right? Or at least it is for me. And I'm always trying to stay in decent shape. I mean, what is your workout routine? I need to know. I'm like, what are you going to the gym for 2 hours every day? How do you maintain what you're doing?
Well, I wake up consistently at 6 a.m. every morning. Sometimes earlier, and then spend my first hour of every day in a dedicated yoga practice with a 20-minute meditation in that.
Okay, 20 minutes within the hour, 20 minutes inside that hour. Okay, all right.
And longer if I could. I'm finding like when the bell dings at the end of it, I'm like coming out of, oh, okay, gotta go now.
Is this before coffee or anything else? You're right into it. Okay.
Yeah. Then sometimes I take a shower first if I'm like, I gotta pull this.
Okay.
Then what? Usually, and as soon as I leave work, that's my objective, to be able to go and do yoga again, so I can go home and transition. I call yoga my transition.
So you're not doing lifting or cardio or running or anything?
I used to be a huge runner, and I will do some cardio like calisthenics, but COVID changed a lot. You know, our gyms closed down, and with the way I work and travel, I love to like speed walk and jog still. It's just hasn't been part of my daily routine. But every Wednesday, I think for 14 years, my bestie is 14 years ago was my trainer, and 14 years later, she's my bestie. So every Wednesday, I call it Kick and Spin with Kim Day. That is where I even come back from town early sometimes so I can get in there and just burn it out. I like keep that box and just, but I do not do as much cardio.
But your diet is freaking excellent. It sounds like to me. No junk. Now, you strike me as the kind of, I would not, if I was one of your employees and I'm in the break room and you came into the break room or whatever, and I was like heating up some pizza from the night before, I'd be like, oh shit, there's Franny. She's going to see me eating this crap.
No judgment. Everybody else is more critical of themselves than I could ever be. I would never do that. Okay. Never. You know, and when we, like in our corporate breakout, we had hemp pasta. It's all vegetarian. We always serve vegetarian.
You don't eat meat?
I do sometimes, but it's ethical meat.
I see.
You know, so
what does that mean? I know we're out of time. What's ethical meat? Define that for me.
So I'm big into regenerative ag. So I like to consume, and I have processed every animal there is out there. I have raised hogs, I have shot sheep and butchered
cleaned them, processed them. You know how to do it.
Yeah, but that's after 17 years of being vegetarian. That's what I started doing 10 years ago when I bought my farm, to move out of it and into ethical meat. And I feel a whole lot better having meat in my diet. It doesn't take a ton, but it came from a farm, pretty much. I like to buy my food from farmers.
Okay. Hey, back to the whole local thing. That's same as not going to a chain restaurant. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I love your passion and energy is contagious. I can see why your people probably love working for you. You just have great people skills, and you're super educated on what you're doing, from the farm and the science and the plant. I mean, you really know your shit, combined with the fact that you're very personable and you're very brand oriented. You're very protective of that. I think that's super awesome. You know, I think I have met a lot of shitty people in the industry. You know, I don't want all my cannabis friends emailing me after this launches and blasting me, but I mean, there's some wackos, you know, crazy, unorganized, messy, unethical people in the industry. I've met some of them and I'm just like, oh my God, man, how are you in business, bro? You know, so,
I know.
You know, it's so awesome to talk to somebody that is very, very passionate and protective about their brand. Great job, Franny. Great job. I'm really happy to know you. I want to tell the listeners one more time, Franny'sPharmacy.com. Go check it out. Order some of the product. Try it. Everything you listen to on the show here, you should be pleasantly surprised. And if you don't like it, she'll give you your money back.
That's right.
There's so many other.
It was such a pleasure. I've been watching some of your podcasts and having fun. I laughed, I snickered, and I was like, and then I just felt like I know you, and it's been so fun to have a real conversation.
Well,
because
thank
there's
you.
a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. So keep bringing it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Franny. Thank you. I want to have you back on the show. So many other things I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to make a note in my calendar to ping you in like 6 months and say, hey, come back. Let's talk some more.
And when you come to Asheville, you're going to ping me and say, put me up on the farm.
Yes, I'd love to. I mean, sitting around with you at the campfire with a little cannabis, and of course, I'm a bourbon guy, so I'd probably have some of that too. That would just be, that's right up my alley. I'm looking forward to it. Nice to meet you.
Right on. Nice to meet you. Take care.